Okay, well, I feel like this is going to speak for itself.
I successfully sued my sperm donor, and now I get 40% of his paycheck.
I'm a sperm donor, and yes, I've been court ordered to pay roughly 40% of my paycheck to this random woman and her child. The thing is, when I was 18, 19 years old, I was in the Marines, short on cash, and I thought it would be a good idea to donate some sperm for some easy money.
Mm-hmm.
I made a total of $150, and it came back to bite me because now I'm paying this woman thousands of dollars a month for a child I had no part in making or wanting. I
He should sue her for custody. He should sue her for custody then, because if he has to pay child support, then he should get some level of custody.
I did sign an agreement at the time stating that I would not be held liable for anything that happens to the sperm after I donated it. But I guess some laws changed, and she found a legal loophole that
Loophole.
states that I now have responsible for the child. So now I have to pay her monthly. It doesn't make any sense. I'm working on appealing it. So if anybody has any ideas or knows anybody who knows a good lawyer, send them my way because this is just unfair.
Now, I want to point out, first and foremost, this is from an account that often posts videos out of context, and I did my own level of research, and this woman does a lot of satire-type videos. So then, before I did the video, I was like, well, let me see if I can find this gentleman or his story. Well, I couldn't find him, but shockingly, I found hundreds of other examples of where men had donated and ended up having to pay child support. This is wild to me. And a lot of this is coming from, is stemming from the black market donation space. I don't know if you knew this, but in particular for two lady couples, there is an entire market of meeting up and making the donation manually, so to speak, at various locations and even paying for it. I don't know if this also happens to married couples. There is a huge actual market of men who exchange money for their seed so people can have kids. Now, I think I've made my opinions on this type of thing known. I just say, like, ideally, a child comes into this world. In the best case scenario, they have a mother and father. Whatever happens after that. I don't like when they're bought by, as an accessory from somebody. But there are many such examples of this. Here, a donor who donated to a LGBTQ couple ended up getting forced to pay child support. Isn't that great? That's like the ultimate deal. This is just one of many examples. A firefighter who donated to a lesbian couple said yesterday that he was being made to pay child support for their son and daughter in the case he believed to be the first of its kind. Well, it isn't the first of its kind. In fact, when you look up some legal websites, there are, now granted, it is rare, but there are several states and several examples of where men end up having to pay this. And it's usually from these Craigslist donor people. So guys, fellas who think it's funny or think it's an easy, a meme, to get, go say, yeah, I'll give you a deposit. Well, I'd be more careful than that. You see court orders Craigslist donor to pay child support, even though the mothers of the child disagree. Probably because once he has to pay child support, then he should be able to demand visitation. He should be able to demand custody. Not that he wanted it. Like, I'm not trying to be mean to this guy. It was a financial transaction, okay? But life has consequences. See, William Mariota answered a Craigslist ad adding for a donor. He wanted to help a lady couple who wanted to have a baby. Kansas man answered their Craigslist couple seeking the donation is now responsible to pay child support. Right here in America's Topeka, Kansas. The judge made their final ruling in the case this week. Back in 2010, Angela Bauer and her partner Jennifer Schreier wrote a Craigslist ad that read, "We are foster and adoptive parents. We now decide to share a pregnancy and birth together. William Mariota answered the ad, according to the Daily Dot, and the couple signed a contract saying he was under no obligation to support the child financially over the course of its entire lifetime. Doesn't matter. District Court Mary Mativi ruled that he is the child's legal father, and as a result, he must pay 40% of his paycheck and probably owes back child support too, depending on how many years. Now, the question is, if the mothers and fathers disagree, why was this even in court? Who brought this to court to even have the discussion? Both parties involved failed to complete all the necessary steps required for a legal donation, like using a licensed physician for the artificial procedure. Kansas law is clear that a donor of this product provided to a licensed physician for use in the big pharma, so that they pay $100,000 for this procedure. Guess what? You have to pay child support for the rest of that kid's life. Here's another one. Gay man who donated now has to pay child support for not one but two children. So he's not even into women. He made the donations to earn some money, and now he has to donate, or he has to pay part of his paycheck in an ongoing manner forever. I mean, kids are not, it's not a joke. Like, I mean, I don't know. When I was in college, I don't even think they were paying for where I lived. I don't think they were paying for that product. I know you could donate plasma and get like $40 or something, like 20 or $30 or something like that. I had some friends that did that in college, which is really predatory, by the way. They just all happened to be close to these college towns. But anyway, but I don't think there was any place that was paying for the other stuff. And I mean, there are numerous examples of it. This case illustrated how older laws on assisted reproduction in Kansas and others have not, in fact, been updated. Charles Baylor, Mariota's attorney, said that Kansas agency's portion was radical and discriminated against LGBTQ people. I love that he tried to use that shield. Sorry, bud, that doesn't work. If the presumptive parent, in this case, the non-biological mother, had been a man, they never would have gone after the donor, Baylor said. Well, that's true. That's probably true. You take a Craigslist ad, you see a Craigslist ad, you see, oh, okay, I could, fire off a load for a couple $100. Seems cool. Yeah, no. And even the guys out there who, by the way, maybe just want to be quote unquote helping their female partnered friends. Well, times change, right? That couple gets divorced or separates, which is, 30-40% of couples anyway. I don't know how that percentage equates to the LGBTQ community. Some reason I suspect it's higher, but I don't know. They separate, and now one partner is a single parent, and now they need money. They can come to you and get it. It's. I'm not simping, by the way, for big pharma or like the pharmaceutical industry, which is what has made this impossible. But it's wild to me. By the way, Mariota and the two women signed a contract in which they agreed to pay him $50 for each donation. Legal documents say that Schreiner was impregnated with a syringe in early 2009. Secretary Phyllis Gilmore said that the department was disappointed with the ruling, adding that the statement that the law pertaining to donors is clear, and this ignored the ruling. By the way, 9 states and the District of Columbia have laws that treat an unmarried partner as a legal parent when there is assisted reproduction. That's 9 states. So, before you take up that Craigslist ad thinking like, oh, this would be sweet. You mean I get paid? Like, normally this is something I've got to take someone out to dinner for, but I mean, I just get to show up at the house and make a little dono. Cool, sweet. Yeah, no, you're still the parent of that kid, which would have been true anyway. But legally, the courts will make you pay for that kid in some of these states, 9 states. Now, then again, this is going around the system, right? Many people can't afford to, this procedure is not cheap, right? Then it says, a friend of Mariota started a GoFundMe to raise money for his legal expenses. As of Tuesday, he raised $2,300. Well, part of me wants to say, F around and find out. Part of me says, well, you made a dumb decision, and now it's coming back to literally bite you. But the other part of me wants to point out, how the legal system is, of course, slanted against men, especially in family courts in many states, not all states, but in many states. And so you end up these things, these women wanted to be parents and take the responsibilities that brings. I never would have agreed to this unless they'd been committed family. Now I can't afford to have my own children with my own wife. It's crippling me financially, the man said. Well, I mean, I can't say that, obviously I feel bad for them, but, be careful with those loads, buddies. Just like they teach you in firearm safety, know your target and what's beyond it. Be accountable for every load. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it, and we'll talk to you again real soon.